Once upon a time, in a world much like ours, there was a man named Jonah. Now, Jonah wasn't just any man. He was a prophet, someone who heard messages from God and delivered them to others. But, as we'll see, even prophets don't always get things right. One day, God gave Jonah a very special mission. He was told to go to a huge city called Nineveh, a place where people were behaving really badly, lying, stealing, cheating, you name it, they were doing it. And God wasn't happy. He wanted Jonah to warn the people of Nineveh to stop, or their city would be destroyed. But here's the thing, Jonah didn't want to go. He wasn't exactly thrilled about warning the people of Nineveh. He thought they deserved whatever was coming to them. Why should he try to save them? They were his enemies. So instead of obeying God, Jonah did the exact opposite. He ran away, and not just a little bit. He hopped on the first boat he could find, sailing in the complete opposite direction. Now, you can imagine, running away from God isn't exactly the best plan. As Jonah sailed further and further from Nineveh, something began to stir on the water. The skies darkened, and the winds picked up. A terrible storm hit the ship, and it was so violent that the sailors were afraid the boat would break apart. They began to panic, throwing their cargo overboard to lighten the load. But Jonah, where was he? Fast asleep below deck, unaware that the storm was because of him. The sailors rushed to him and said, "How can you sleep? Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he'll spare us." They had already prayed to their own gods with no luck, so they figured it couldn't hurt to ask Jonah to do the same. Jonah knew why the storm was happening. He knew it was because he ran from God. So he confessed. He told the sailors, "This is my fault. I tried to run away from God. If you want to survive, you'll have to throw me overboard." Now, the sailors didn't want to do this. They weren't cruel, but the storm only got worse. Finally, with no other choice, they tossed Jonah into the sea. As soon as Jonah hit the water, the storm stopped. The waves grew calm and the sky cleared. The sailors were amazed and they thanked Jonah's God for saving them. But as for Jonah, well, things were about to get really interesting. Just as Jonah thought it was the end for him, something enormous swallowed him whole. Yep, a giant fish, or maybe a whale, whatever it was. Jonah found himself alive, but trapped in its belly. 3 days! That's how long Jonah stayed in the belly of that creature, surrounded by darkness, water, and who knows what else. But in that time, Jonah had a lot of time to think. He realized he had made a mistake by running away. He prayed to God, asking for forgiveness and promising to follow through on his mission. God listened to Jonah's prayer. And just like that, after 3 days, the giant fish spit Jonah out onto dry land. He was given a second chance. This time, Jonah didn't run. He went straight to Nineveh, just like God asked. He walked through the city, warning the people, "In 40 days, this city will be destroyed unless you change your ways." And guess what? The people of Nineveh actually listened. From the king to the poorest of the poor, everyone stopped what they were doing and changed their ways. They prayed, fasted, and asked for God's forgiveness. When God saw how they changed, he had mercy on them. He decided not to destroy the city after all. Now, you might think Jonah would be happy, right? But Jonah was still upset. He thought Nineveh deserved to be punished. He couldn't understand why God would show them mercy. But God gently reminded Jonah of something important. He said, "You're upset about a plant dying, but shouldn't I care about saving all these people in Nineveh? After all, they didn't know any better. I gave them a second chance, just like I gave you." And that's the heart of Jonah's story. Second chances. We all make mistakes, but God's mercy is bigger than any of our failures. Just like Jonah learned, no one is beyond forgiveness, whether it's a runaway prophet or an entire city. So the next time you find yourself running from something, remember Jonah and the whale, and know that it's never too late to turn things around.